Um, do you agree with me that promiscuity in women is generally bad?
Sure.
You don't think that that's a good thing?
I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole because good and
Okay.
bad doesn't matter. I'm in the business of predicting.
I don't know what she thinks that means, but Pearl is definitely gives her opinion on good or bad all the time. So I don't know what planet she thinks she's on right now, or maybe she slipped into a dream.
Okay. Okay. Well,
So if I
from
had
from
to
a
predict where it's going to go, women are going to keep getting promiscuous.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your
And
predictive model, I agree. I'm not going to get into like more
Even though all the statistics show that Gen Z is leaning in the other direction, but okay.
morals or ethics with you. That's not what I mean by good or bad, like moral or immoral,
right.
right? But like, is it bad for women generally to be promiscuous? Like, does it lower their value structure?
Um you could say that, yeah, but I don't
Okay.
really always see promiscuous women have bad outcomes in real life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Did she just say unfortunately?
Promiscuity in women is generally bad.
Sure.
You don't think that that's a good thing?
I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole because good and
Okay.
bad doesn't matter. I'm in the business of predicting.
Okay. Okay. Well,
So if I
from
had to
a
predict where it's going to go, women are going to keep getting promiscuous.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So your
And
predictive model, I agree. I'm not going to get into like morals or ethics with you. That's not what I mean by good or bad, like moral or immoral,
right.
Okay, so she's not going to make any moral claims. We all heard that.
right? But like, is it bad for women generally to be promiscuous? Like, does it lower their value structure?
Um you could say that, yeah, but I don't
Okay.
really always see promiscuous women have bad outcomes in real life, unfortunately.
And there it is. Unfortunately. If she's not making a moral or value claim, then why would it be unfortunate that promiscuous women aren't getting negative ramifications in society? Okay, so we're less than like 2 minutes in, and Pearl has already contradicted herself, which is classic. Anyway, let's see where this is going.
Would make women valuable is that they were essentially that they were hoes. Essentially, would make them
I mean, they
valuable,
bring
right?
more value than the wives that are married and they don't sleep with their husbands.
You think
That's
It's a what? I what? What percentage of marriages even is that?
yeah, you do. But
and
interestingly enough,
and
there
wouldn't you
must be because
Bro, is she ever going to stop interrupting? She's already interrupted him like 10 times.
Gen Z women are the first women that are on social media.
That's not true. Um, Millennials were absolutely on social media, not from as young of an age, but we absolutely were on social media. We were the ones who had Facebook first. We had MySpace before that. We had AOL Instant Messenger and all that kind of stuff. We were definitely, and I'm a younger millennial, and we were definitely the first ones with social media. So I don't know what she's talking about.
is when we look at
And the
the
other
social
and the other
hang on. Well,
question.
let me respond to it.
Okay, go ahead.
If
Go
we
ahead.
look at the social data for what you're talking about, this happens all the time. That's called a single mom, right?
Mhm.
You live with the chick, you impregnate the chick, you're not married to the chick. Those end up in the most.
Crowder's in the same position.
Steven Crowder has nothing to do with this part of the conversation. He was married to her for several years. Yeah, they got divorced because he was being a prick. What does that have to do with this?
Agreements as cited I went and looked at the data again.
Mhm.
They are mostly enforced. That is the case.
Right,
When
but
it
when
comes
they're
to
but when they're contested,
hang
but
on,
when they're
Pearl.
when they're
Pearl, let me finish, Pearl.
when
Let me
they're
finish.
contested,
Why won't she let him finish a single sentence?
you know, because when they're
Because
contested, you're still
I'm not
gonna
allowed to
you're
make a
still
point.
you're
Only you're
still
allowed to
gonna
make points
you're
for men.
what does society give men in return for producing a stable society?
A stable society? What do you mean? What do you mean? When we produce a stable society, the reward is that we get to live in a stable society. I don't even... Who? Bruh. Okay.
Fires of men have to live in this world.
Right.
We have to live in this world. We live in a world full
Mhm.
of degeneracy and basically horrifying things because of the instability of society. And you almost disempower them in a way because you're saying they don't have the power to change the nature of law.
I just want them to make an informed decision.
Yeah,
That's it.
but I mean the informed decision towards what? Their happiness?
Whatever they want to do. It's not my place to tell
Well,
men.
do you
Okay, she keeps repeating this, it's not my place to tell men, but she's fighting so hard against every statistic, and Andrew's making some rational arguments. Granted, they're all from the Christian worldview, so they only apply to some people. But he's making rational arguments and laying out a plan for how you could reach this in theory. And she's just keeps repeating, like, you need to make a good argument. He's making an argument. And she keeps saying, I'm not giving prescriptions, but when you're saying one thing and all these other things are wrong, and you're only really leaving one other option, you're kind of making a prescriptive for that last option.
which is a family. That's the what else would the incentive ever be?
And again, and if that's so great, then men will sign up. If that's so
okay,
great,
so
like if a
the
product's good, there's a big demand, right?
There is a big demand. Men want to get married.
Sure. Then
Yeah, but
if they wanted to, they would, right?
That's not necessarily true. Men do generally want to get married. We are going through a little phase of history where the sort of culmination of quite a few different social trends has led to less women wanting to get married, but that's like a separate issue that we could likely remedy if we, weren't so busy worrying about other things.
We talk
Go
framing
ahead.
this as I'm saying take a plunge when I'm not
No,
saying
it's
take
totally
a plunge.
fine. Tell me what's beginning
so
to end.
First,
so where should they source?
I would look at these stats.
No, not the stats. Where should they
Yeah.
source the women from? Like what state should they go to?
What? What is... She's on a different planet right now. I don't...
What
we're talking about is risk mitigation. So let's start with risk mitigation. Your
but
chances
I want the dating process from beginning to end.
Oh, okay, we'll give...
Oh my God. From a dude who hasn't dated in 17 years because he's happily married with several children? Pearl. She's just being obtuse on purpose now.
Go ahead.
What? You want me to give a dating process from beginning to end for every individual man on planet Earth?
Well, okay, if a guy wants to go on your prescription.
No, the dating process is going to be
How is he going to source women?
On region. It's going to be varied on man. It's going to be varied on what options are available. But what you can look at is all the signs of the universals which mitigate risk. What you're asking is for an absurdity. It's like me asking, tell me step by step, how do I become a successful podcaster?
Oh, every woman
on Earth, how do you become a successful podcaster?
I could do that pretty easily.
Do it.
I could do. No, but I asked you first, and you don't have an answer.
If you're talking about
so walk away.
If we're talking about mitigation
where is he sourcing the women from?
You're asking for stuff. Stop cutting me off.
So I need you.
If you're asking a question, you gotta let me answer the fucking question.
But you're not answering the question.
What's the question? But then you have to not talk while I answer it.
Okay, I'll try. I'm a woman, so it's kind of tough.
Okay, go ahead.
I think she's a plant. She's got to be a plant. Like, she must just exist to make women look bad.
There's no women that at all could mitigate any of this. I mean, the biggest hoes that I knew in school had pretty much no digital footprint, no social media. None.
Well, that is crazy. There's no way. She's just saying that like it's a fact. There's no way that's true at all. There's no chance that that is true.
It is not likely that you're going to be enslaved to that car for 18 years. And I think maybe
the damage it does to you for 18 years.
I just have a different point of view, because I've seen men on the brink of suicide, Andrew, and I've seen men I've told you this story before. One of the worst divorce stories.
Oh my God, nobody cares about your anecdotes. She always has anecdotes, but she doesn't realize that, like, the sample size of people that are willing to talk to her is not representative of the general public.
Again, I don't even disagree with a lot of these descriptions, but if we apply Pearl Davis's descriptions, which do sound more prescriptive, why should men do X, right?
Well,
it's like, okay, well, here's why. And then you say, but here's the risk for that. Okay, I agree there's the risk for that. Well, now what? I don't know. Is that it? Just like, I don't know?
If a product is good, then people are lining up to buy it. And so what you're doing is you're saying, no, there's no risk. Men are lining up.
He hasn't said that once. He's been saying the opposite of that the entire time.
To buy.
What should they do instead, Pearl? What should they do instead, Pearl?
I think they should make an informed decision. Because
I think.
I think they should make an informed decision. Why is a man immoral if he doesn't choose to get married?
That's not immoral.
Okay, so then why are you arguing?
Who said that?
Yeah, well, the argument here is about men's happiness and what they get, right? Not about whether or not it's moral if they get married or not.
Yeah, he's clearly, and has been since the beginning of this debate, been making a pragmatic argument. This has nothing to do with morality.
Do what you want?
I think that if prescriptively you move towards the type of society I advocate for, I think, yes, the wellness of men would do way better.
So men should do what you want and not what they want.
No, they should do prescriptively what's best for men.
Okay.
That's not, now that is true that I'm aligned with that, but that's not doing what I want. That's doing what's in their best interest.
Okay. So men should listen to you and not what they want for their life, but what you want for their life.
Well, what did I just say? I just said,
I don't even like, that is the most bad fit. Look, I don't generally agree with Andrew Wilson on 90% of things, but here we are. It's the broken clock strikes again.
So you're saying that men, well, yeah, but men in reward for protecting the country, they got a family that actually stayed together. But today that's not the norm.
No, they didn't. In the Vietnam War,
we've never gotten families as a reward for protecting the country.
Men have always historically done and are now getting much better at. And then on top of that, Mr. Producer, you can expect within the next few years that you're going to start seeing even more changes in the marriage court. And here's my proof. The number of kids living with their fathers has quadrupled from 68 to 2020 due to men's rights advocacy groups. That seems to be good for men. They can get access to their kids. Quadrupled, Pearl.
What do you think's going to affect my producer or someone?
She literally at the beginning of this went on a whole freaking monologue, diatribe, whatever you want to call it, about how courts are giving women all the children. And when Andrew presents the statistic that shows that that's been heavily swinging in the opposite direction to a much more even and fair place, she just ignores it. Like he didn't say anything?
I hope, I mean, maybe the men in the audience will buy it, right?
No, I think that mine was the good sell.
We're going to pause for just a minute and check out some of the comments on this video and see if the men in the audience bought it or not. Pearl, men have been treated like garbage for the longest time. Also, Pearl, I don't care about history. Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that. Andrew tried to be as nice as he could. Props to his practice of patience. He was extremely patient. Normally, he would be, if someone else interrupted him this much, he would be screaming at them right now. Pearl is not a debater. She's an arguer. True. True. 30 minutes in, and Pearl's bad faith was exposed. It did not take 30 minutes. At least Erudite gives a hilarious show by performing mental gymnastics. Erudite is one of the best liberal debaters that exist. So that's just absolutely absurd. Pearl just refuses to answer questions because she doesn't care. She has said that a few times. If she don't care, why even? Yeah, exactly. If you don't care, if you don't make prescriptions, if you don't, then why are you here? He who refuses to consider history is doomed to repeat it. Yeah, okay. Pearl claims to make no prescriptions, but is obviously making prescriptions veiled under it's what men want. Yeah, she's literally making prescriptions, but just saying that she's not making prescriptions. Pearl, I love you. Sus. But let Andrew speak. My life could have been much better if I had a friend like him. Also sus. But generally speaking, this part in the middle, let Andrew speak. Yeah, for Christ's sake. I don't know why. I'm not even Christian, but I just grew up with a Christian family, so I say things like Jesus Christ and for Christ's sake. I almost forgot why I stopped watching Pearl. Thank you, Andrew, for bringing me here and reminding me. Yep. Annoying that she kept interrupting him. Yep. Pearl really messed this up. Like a gal who tries to fight rather than dance. She makes it a struggle rather than loose art. Okay, Mr. Poet. Pearl was going way over the top. She wasn't listening mostly. Yeah, you can tell when she's not listening because she does that like glazed over expression. Like her brain is no longer occupying her skull. It's like somewhere else in the room. And she's sort of lost track of it. A family is the only thing that matters in this life, period. The sooner you learn that, the more fulfilling life becomes. I think family is definitely up there in the most important things in life. Later, Pearl, this was tragic. You never even listened to any of his arguments. Instead, conflated, obfuscated, and ignored all reason. Yep. Pearl's arguments sounded like a Klaus Schwab book. We'll watch a debate about Klaus Schwab one of these days. I've already seen it, but it's a good one. Pearl, why did you even welcome this conversation? You want to describe and be negative. That's it. It's pointless. Andrew tries to counter. You cut him off constantly. What's the situation? Oh, this is so long, but we pretty much get it. Pearl sounds like a broken record. She keeps saying no one answers the question while actually receiving an answer. This woman is exactly what she rails against. Argumentative, obnoxious, dismissive, doesn't listen, talks over others. It carries on. I mean, they're all just torching Pearl. And this is her channel. This is her, I assume, predominantly her fans on her channel. And they're just flaming her. Pearl skipped right past red pill, breezed through black pill, and is settled at nihilism. Yeah, literally. She sounds low-key jealous. She always sounds jealous. Always. Andrew, thanks for showing us Pearl's bullshit. Yeah, I'm rude and belligerent. I'm not actually listening. Insufferable. She was not ready for this today. I'm 53 and I have 5 children. Family is everything to me. Pearl wants no risk in order to make a family. Insane. Exactly. 0% risk, or Pearl won't tell men that they should aim for family structures in life. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. And that's off the heels of her saying, we'll see in the comments, we'll see, you know, if the audience, if they agree with you or they agree with me. Well, you know, it looks like they agree with Andrew.
So I just fucking absurd. Never said it. The reason you have to reframe this is because
what should I call them? Okay.
I'm advocating, hang on.
Right.
I'm advocating
Wait for a woman that gave it to other men
advocating
for free?
men's happiness, men's rights, men's health. And the only thing you can think of to do is to consistently attempt to reframe it into somehow, I'm telling men to take some plunge with some fucking skank born again virgin. Fuck that. I'm talking about the mass mitigation of risk and the change to a system.
All right, guys. I know she slept with your ex-boyfriend. Okay. Or I know she slept with her ex-boyfriend.
Here comes the straw man that I would never prescribe ever.
Okay. Should men wait till marriage? You said yes, right?
Yeah, generally yes.
Even if the woman isn't a virgin.
If it is the case that you want men to do whatever they want, then if man really likes the woman,
don't do whatever you want. Do what Andrew says.
If it is the case,
my producer, he's taking notes now. He's gonna follow your plan.
Yeah. So if the man really likes the woman, and men should do whatever it is that they want, right? Then
we already looked at the comment section a minute ago, and it's obvious that the people watching this decided unilaterally that they preferred Andrew's prescription over Pearl's, even though this is Pearl's page, which would theoretically have her fans and supporters mostly attached to it. But here we are.
Under your feasible system, a man should just fuck a chick because he feels like it, right? It's like, that's untenable, one. And two, yes, is it okay for a man to hold his own integrity intact and still be in love with a woman who slept with a man before and have good outcomes? Yes, of course it is.
Rare W take, Andrew Wilson. I gotta give him credit where it's due. Like, yeah, you can definitely find a woman that was promiscuous in her past and still have a happy relationship. It's not that deep.
So now
answer the question, Pearl. Don't dodge, Pearl. What have men ever gotten, Pearl?
Translation, men.
You're not answering. No, notice audience, she's not answering.
Notice audience, he won't notice he's not answering either.
I did answer. I answered 15 times. Now here's my question to you after I gave you the answer.
Okay.
What have men ever gotten?
Okay, 100 years ago, average 6 to 8 children. I believe this is off the top of my head.
So you only care about caring about children, not about men.
Wait, I'm not done.
That's caring about children, not about men, Pearl.
You got to go back and forth about 100 years ago because
what did men ever get, Pearl? What did they ever get?
But that doesn't matter. And that's the whole point. Right. You keep going back to 100 years ago. I live in the now. I don't care what happened 100 years ago.
Asked me this question. You said, Andrew,
I know, but you keep deflecting. You keep deflecting and bringing up the past. You're like a woman bringing up the past.
I'm just making you answer the same question that I'm answering.
Holy. Bro, who's deflecting? He answered your question.
Right, I don't care about 100 years ago.
That's right.
I care about
nothing. You got nothing.
I care because you're talking about the past. What do they get today, Andrew? What do they get?
They get the same thing they've always gotten, which is a family, the thing that seems to make men the most happy. Right. Unless you can name something else that men were getting before that, and I'm all ears.
Do women stay today? Do women stay today? On average, do women stay today?
At lesser rates than they used to.
Okay.
By for sure they do.
Okay.
But if you're asking what men get, that's a different question.
But they don't get it. They don't get it.
Yeah, but a lot of men do get it. That's a lie. They do get it.
No, they don't.
A lot of men do. I just gave you the stats. And by the way, if you're talking about, again, even when it comes to guardianship, it's quad.
Even if 50% of marriages fail, 50% of them work. And there are things you can do to mitigate that and make your risk of divorce even lower than 50%. So like men still get married and have families for life. A lot of them.
Said marriageable.
But I mean,
so
I
think
think
men
probably,
should accept. Do you think men should accept more than 10?
Well, here,
that's probably
let's just
true.
Do you think men
the
should
stats
accept
and
more
see.
than 5? Well,
How many women have less than a 3 body
yeah,
count?
but I don't trust stats that women report their body
okay.
count.
So now, whatever the data says, it's wrong too.
I mean, if women say it, yeah.
Oh my God, you are
If it's
such a
women about
clown.
body count, come on, Andrew, you gotta
Just put
be
the
realistic
paint on.
here.
Yeah, it looks like it's somewhere, the average of it is about 50% of women by the time they're marriageable age have less than a 5 body count. Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I'm looking at.
You have been out of the dating market too long, Andrew.
This is the stats I'm looking at.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Does she think women lie to their doctors about this stuff, or their psychiatrist? Like, anonymously in studies, they lie about this stuff? She's out of her mind.
Now we're looking at marriageable age, which is going to be between the age of 19 and 29, right? So we're looking at marriageable age for children. Now, is that the case? I don't know if that's the case. But ultimately, who cares ultimately anyway? The truth of the matter is that even if it's damaged, no.
Who cares about body count?
That's not what I said.
Men
who
should
cares
just
anyway about the
accept
topic?
Holy shit, lady. This whole entire hour and a half so far, approximately, is just a total straw man. I mean, this is insanity.
No. At the topic at hand, the case of the matter is that even if none of them right now were marriageable, and they were all fucking skanks, and they all had dozens of bodies, we would still be trying to move society towards a reform of such a system and not try to black pill and nihilism all. That would be stupid. Ultimately, when we look at men's happiness, they want to get married, right?
Okay, fine. I want to get back to the step by step. You're happily married. Let's get to the step by step.
For what?
We're getting stuck at the waiting. So what's after that? So then you marry her.
I don't understand. What is the question you're asking me?
She's not.
If you're giving a prescription, I want a detailed how to do it. So
what you do is you get a club and you walk over to a chick and you bash her in the fucking head and you take her back to your house and you bang her, right? That's a detailed step-by-step plan. Or did you maybe want to talk about viable
the caveman days plan?
Viable.
Andrew gives dating advice, which has nothing at all to do with the conversation of moving men towards marriageability.
Yeah, but okay. So if you want men to get married, you can't tell them how to get there, really?
That's fucking stupid. What are you talking? Why would I need to be a determining factor for every individual man on Earth? For a step-by-step guide of how they get married? That's fucking retarded.
Okay, well,
that's literally retarded. Why would you even ask that?
My producer's on the market, 40-year-old guy in the Midwest. What should he do? There you go.
Lose weight.
Okay, then what?
I would start with that.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding, Mister. Look, I took a cheap shot because it was funny.
Oh,
I like the guy. I like the guy. I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny.
I forgot you met him.
Yeah. It was a look. He's skinnier than me. I'm just joking with the guy. I was kidding.
Okay,
right?
Fine. Totally fine.
So,
Hit the gym. That's not bad.
I don't know. I don't know what the intricacies of his life are. Every single individual is going to have a completely different.
So he should make the decision and not you, right?
No. Based on where people are in the distinctions of their life. Well, yeah. I mean, ultimately, everyone's going to make their own decision. But hang on, stop.
Yeah,
I'm going to answer your fucking question. Each individual person on planet Earth is going to have a unique set of circumstances, which, because I'm not an omnipotent god nor psychic, have no ability at all to understand in a comprehensive way. But I can still, even though I know that I'm not going to be able to tell how everybody on the road drives, I can still tell you that a stop sign fucking works.
Right. So if that's true, why do you talk like one?
Like what?
Like you talk like you're the god that knows like the best way for people to
I've
live.
never done that one. In fact, I just told you. Yeah. Do you know how to put one in? No. Well, then you shouldn't tell them that they should have a live chat. That's fucking stupid.
In my opinion,
that is literally stupid.
my opinion is you've just kind of been out of the dating game too long.
Maybe.
And I think you would get eaten alive. Like I think if you believe that half of women have 3 bodies, I don't know how you believe that for doing
That's
like
not
whatever.
What I said.
I know, but you're
literally
citing...
not what I said. Why do you keep framing
the body,
everything I said?
Fine. The body count stats that you cited would be so ridiculous to any guy actually.
They may
dating.
be. Literally,
right.
they may be. But I literally said just based on what I personally glanced.
I know. But I don't even know how you believe them with like being on whatever all the time.
I didn't say I believed them.
The women on the Whatever podcast are not an accurate representation of women in society at all. And the men that Pearl Davis talks to are not an accurate representation of men in society at all. That's insane.
I mean, come on. Were you a virgin on your wedding day? Like, come on.
Never said I was.
Yeah,
I was also deeply steeped myself in the degeneracy of promiscuity.
I know.
It's no secret.
But so the way it comes across to a lot of people is I had my fun, but you can't. And that's how it's going to come off to people.
I see.
And I am somehow.
People can give advice from experience. You can say, oh, sorry. You can say, I did this thing, X thing, and X thing did not lead to positive outcomes for my life. And if I were to give you advice, I would say you should not do X thing the way that I did. Like, I have a very, very promiscuous past. It did not lead to good outcomes in my dating life. I've had much better outcomes since I've stopped having as much of a promiscuous past. And that's basically the same thing Andrew is saying. And that's totally a reasonable thing to say if you believe that those two things are correlated.
For responding to the environment that women made. I don't think it's pragmatic for most men to wait until they're 30 to have sex. I don't think that, and most women don't select most men until they're in their late 20s, early 30s. Go ahead.
So let me get this right, just to make sure that I have this correct. Pearl Davis, don't want to govern the behavior of men. How dare you call men who engage in sexual promiscuity degenerates, even though that would be, you governing the behavior of me, man, right? Pure hypocrisy on display, yes?
Oh, it's almost over. Thank God.
Well, I can't control it. I can't control anything they do.
Yeah, but somehow you can give a prescription that I shouldn't be doing that, but I can't give a prescription for what other people should be doing. Well,
you totally can. You totally can, but it's just
But you just think people are tired of it. They're tired of men saying this is really bad for men to do for their own health. Yes.
I would say that men are pretty tired of being nagged for their sexuality in general.
Oh, well, I mean, that's terrible that men...
She would never extend that same courtesy to women ever. Ever. Even though historically women have been far more nagged for their sexualities. Always. This isn't even arguable.
Think it's not realistic.
Well, I think there's two parts to it. The one is that you're shaming men for their behavior and their sexuality, and two is that I think that none of the changes that you're talking about really are realistic anytime soon, and so men have to make decisions on marriage today.
How dare you, Andrew? How dare you shame men for their sexuality when women have been shamed for their sexuality for all of history? How dare you, Andrew? You monster.
Okay. And unfortunately, the value prop you're saying just isn't great. Because at the end of the day, men's kids don't belong to them.
At least he's consistent.
Women have more power in the media, in the state, and in society in general. And so I don't really see that men rushing to sign up to get married.
Great. So tell me again, what's the most pragmatic thing men can do right now then?
Whatever they want.
It depends on the guy. I can't speak about
That's what Andrew said.
I can't see. Okay.
Yeah.
The most pragmatic thing that men can do, I don't know. Depends on the guy. Andrew, walk me through dating. Well, I don't know. It depends on the guy.
Because you were giving a prescription, but it's okay.
Not only that,
it's okay. I do have another.
Okay. All right. In summary, well, everyone was right. That was absolutely a complete and utter shit show. I mean, I find myself agreeing with Andrew Wilson on certain points. You know that he's debating someone absolutely insane. Like that was rough. I mean, I've never, I won't say, no, I've seen worst faith debate before, for sure. But wow. But that was here. That was absurd. That was out of this world. I mean, I don't even really have much to say. I mean, she kept saying, I don't give prescriptions. I don't give prescriptions for men. I don't like telling men what to do. And let's just be clear, Pearl Davis gives prescriptions all the time. She can't go through one reel without giving 10 opinions. Like in her debate with Ethan Klein, she's saying, I think divorce should be illegal. She made all kinds of claims, And she does it all the time. She does it when she goes to podcasts. She does it probably on, maybe she doesn't do it on this news show that she does. But generally speaking, Pearl gives her opinion and makes prescriptive arguments all the time. For her to sit here and say that she doesn't is absurd. Now, I don't agree with all of Andrew Wilson's prescriptions. He was at least making some sound arguments based in evidence. They were thoroughly informed by his Christian worldview, and I would say that his Christian worldview is a slightly higher priority to him than caring about the health and well-being of men. I don't think that's his main priority in all of this. I think it's definitely a lot more to do with his Christian worldview, but yeah, I mean, we all saw it.